Hey, what's happening, everybody? Once again, it's your boy welcoming you to Poetry, Politics, and Life, where we bear it all. I am your host, Tony Briscoe. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's really good to be back out there, hear from everybody, and I hope you all are doing well as we begin to get into this episode. Oh, yeah. So today I have a friend who is going to be with me. I want to call this episode Conversations with People I Love. So I introduce you all to my good friend, also a colleague. Her name is Rosani Quiones. She is also a wonderful writer, a wonderful poet. And you'll hear at the end of the podcast where I mistook the word songwriter for a sound. And so I wanted to correct that up front, but it pays to listen to people when they're speaking with you. So, but hey, I hope you all enjoy this podcast. It's a little bit longer than usual, but I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for tuning in once again.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. Hey, Rosani, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is an impromptu freestyle. So what's going on in your world?
Oh my gosh. I'm shy.
Yes, I'm putting you on the hot spot. You are not shy.
I am.
You are not shy. How's your heart?
I'm so shy. You know, like I only do freestyling when I'm in the car and I'm playing like some sort of instrumental on the radio, and then my kids are in the car. They're the only ones that get that type of, you know.
Is it driving them crazy? Do they look forward to it?
No, sometimes they'll like say the stuff that I say. Like a few days will pass by and then you'll hear them singing it. I'm like, oh no!
That is funny. That is so funny. How is your heart, my friend? How is your heart?
So last week was different than this week, but this week a whole lot better.
Yeah.
I'm on the up this week, but I think I feel like before COVID and the pandemic happened, I feel like when you would ask somebody, hey, how are you? It would always be like, I'm good, I'm okay. But now like people are more like open and like, I guess open to being open and vulnerable when someone asks you, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
And more real, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's different now.
Yeah. Today was just a day for me, man. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not feeling nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling anything right now, man. It's just, you know, when you are a giving person and people know that and they lean on you hard and, you know, I think
that's
a gentleman.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. I think a gentleman summed it up earlier for both of us when he's like, "Hey, we all have heroes somewhere, you know, for us." But you know, when you give a lot, you know, you have to take those things in, and you know, not everybody's called to be that kind of compassionate person, and so it's only a special select few who have to carry that weight, you know, with them. So, but you know, I'm doing better. You know, I jumped straight to work after a call earlier. I'm like, yeah, I ain't got time for no breaks. I need to work because work is what kind of keeps my mind off of things, you know. But you know, I'm feeling good. And I mean, you know, I really want to, for a few minutes at least, talk about your dad. And it's only because every time you bring him up, I feel like I've missed somebody who should have been in my life since birth. Like, that's what I feel like whenever you talk about your dad. And I feel like your dad is like your dude, you know, is that the case?
Yeah. I mean, just to give you a little bit more context, so we were born in Ay Bonito, Puerto Rico, and we came to Chicago because my dad was actually, well, and he still is, but he's a reverend. So we came to Chicago because he felt led to practice that here. So we've been here since I don't know, maybe since I was like 4.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy for me growing up because like both of my parents got sick when I was younger. So my mom struggled with mental illness, and then my dad, when I was just becoming a young lady, was hospitalized and in a coma for like a whole month. So, wow. And then after that, it was like intensive care. So I remember during that time, again, I was just becoming a young lady, and I didn't have neither of my parents during that time, because my mom, like, when she went to go visit him at the hospital, she just had a breakdown, so she had to be institutionalized. And then, but one thing about my dad is that he developed so many great relationships, and those people actually took care of us. So, you know, from a child's lens, I didn't see that. I didn't see, oh, my parents are sick. I saw it as, man, I'm neglected, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
And that's how I saw it for a large portion of my life. But now that, like, I'm an adult, it's so different now. 4 years ago, my mom passed away, and I had so much, like, bitterness in that relationship. Bitterness, but also, like, it was like a balance of that, but then a balance of love and compassion toward her mental illness.
Yeah.
Because nobody else was understanding her. So I felt like I don't treat my mama like that, you know, like that, like when I,
right,
when
like,
I
don't talk about my mama. Right.
Yeah. Right. So, the reason why I had so much bitterness was because, again, when I was like real young, my mom decided to move back to PR. So I was just becoming a young woman, like what is going on? I had to go through the whole motion. I went through a lot of resentment because of that decision.
Yeah.
But 4 years ago, my mom unexpectedly passed away. And it wasn't until then, Tony, that I realized, man, my mama loves me so much that she left me so that I wouldn't be more broken than I already was, more damaged, more messed up, you know? So I decided, after she passed away, no, this is the perspective that I want. And this is me honoring her, because, you know, like that, what she was going through was not her fault. So
yeah,
again, childhood lens,
absolutely,
and adult lens.
Yeah.
And then when my dad, it was like that as well. But I mean, come on, now that I'm an adult and I'm older, it's just different. That man is like so full of wisdom. He's been in and out of hospitals like for a large portion of my life. So
yeah.
and so like he has actually died 3 times and came back, you know, like, so this man has like so much wisdom. Like he's just a light for me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he teaches me so much. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about this recent conversation I had with him this weekend. So we were talking, you know, like he like gifted me, you know, those things, the record player with the, what is this called, receiver and all that, like for Christmas. That was my Christmas gift. And so he called me because I didn't know how to set it up. So we were like discussing, no, you got to plug this cord here and then whatever, trying to figure it all out. So in the midst of having that conversation, we started talking about dreams. You know, my dad has Parkinson's and a whole long list of other things going on with him. But one of the things that he said was, I'm not sleeping very well. Like when I finally do go to sleep, I keep having this dream, and it's like it starts and it ends. You know, kind of like the TikTok videos when you like play it and then it just goes back to the beginning and then it just, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So he said it's just like that. It's just the same thing. And I was like, oh, I wonder if is the Parkinson's. Like, I wonder if that has something to do with the Parkinson's, because that's like, you know, a disease with the brain and all that. So whatever, we started talking about dreams, and then he was telling me about a few dreams, and then he told me about this experience he had while he was in his coma, that he was in this very dark place, there was no light, and that an angel like took him somewhere that was darker, and then that was his core, that was the center. And then the angel gave him this ball of fire or something like that. And then he said, do what you want with this. I don't remember verbatim, but it was like, do what you want with this, but create your universe. And that was like just so powerful for me.
Right.
Because it was like, ooh, yes, absolutely. Like, we have the power to create our own universe, to create our own world, you know? And when he said that to me, I was like, yo, man, why didn't you tell me this sooner in my life?
Like, you've been holding out on me, old man. What's the problem, bro?
Yeah, he's holding out. But no, he is going through like a lot of health complications right now. Yeah. But it's like, this dude, even if he's going through it, he like gets, he like chooses that even though this is happening in my life, I'm going to choose to still live in happiness, to still like, you know, like just embrace all the memories and build memories and all that. Like,
yeah, it's
I
like
really love that.
Yeah, it's like he has Parkinson's, but Parkinson's doesn't have him.
Yeah, and he has other things too.
Yeah,
but you know,
he has these things, but those things don't have him. And it's that's why I say, like, that's why I was like, man, it always seemed like every time you talk about your dad, like he's just such a man of resolve. And it kind of reminds me of, you know, in scripture, when the apostle Paul is talking, and he's talking about a thorn in his side, you know, that a messenger of Satan may buffet him. But he talked about that he sought the Lord 3 times to have it removed. And the Lord was like, my grace is sufficient for you. And Paul said, I'd rather glory in my infirmities, knowing that the power of God rests with me, because in my weakness, his strength is made perfect. And that's what I think about when you speak of your dad. I think of that kind of man who is just, hey, this is what it is, but it's not me. And even when it gets to a point where it takes over my entire body, it won't take over my entire being. I'll still be me. I may not be able to articulate that to people. My body may not show that to people, but he knows within himself that I'm still me, and nothing's going to change that. No situation and no circumstance. And a lot of that has to do with him being a man of faith, with him being a reverend. Because when you walk that tightly with God, you have to have that kind of resolve, because for whatever reason, the Lord still allows us to experience life any way it comes. Some things we won't pray. I'm sure your dad prayed for more people who were healed, and he hasn't gotten the healing that he may desire for himself. I'm sure people who he's prayed for who have been healed have prayed for him. It's like, okay, Lord, well, he did it for me and you allowed it. Why are we doing it for him and you not allowing it? So, you know, we don't know the mind of God or anything, but I just definitely wanted to spend some time talking about him, because I feel like you turn into a little girl when you talk about your dad.
I guess, dude, when you were talking, I was like, holy smokes, I'm kind of the same way as him too. Like, because I could be going through some stuff, but still smile, you know? Like, so I guess I'm inheriting that from him. Yeah. So amen to that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Are we going to get some poetry out of you today?
Let's see. Let me see what I have. You want to go first, though? Because you always be dropping the mic on everybody, making people cry and stuff.
Oh man, y'all cracked me up last week with I just I'm not going to share anything like today, and I'll let my audience know like this is me just having a conversation with a person whom I love with all of my heart. Aww. And who is dear to me from the first day we met many moons ago. And so glad to have you back in the same environment that we're in, where we do our work for young people in the city of Chicago. So I'm going to save my poetry for another podcast. But today I want to introduce the world to Miss Rosani Quiones.
I'm not even ready.
What are you looking for? You don't have to look any further. Look, pop open that Google sheet. Pop open the Google sheet, the Word doc, and just go for it.
That's what I'm trying to do. This takes time, Tony. You put me on the spot. No, yeah. but for real, how long have we known each other? For, oh my God, decades already, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we really I think we were just two souls passing by who's just like, yeah, man, Tony's a pretty dope dude. And it was like, Rosani's a pretty dope lady. I mean, I'm going to speak that over myself from you. And you didn't even say it. I'm going to say it myself for you, I just think it was like that. And so I'm not surprised that, that our organization reached back out to you and was like, hey, we need somebody great. Are you even interested? And of course you said yes, because you're great.
Thanks. Okay, so as you were talking, I remember there was this one time where
she's spilling the beans now.
No, you and I, we were talking. I don't remember what we were talking about. Maybe it was poetry. I really don't remember. Mm-hmm. But I just remember that when I was talking, you were like paying attention, and I was just so impressed. I was like, oh my God, this dude is actually paying attention to me.
You are hilarious.
You have other things to do, but you were paying attention to me, and that I remembered that.
Yeah, people is my heart. I love people. I love motivating people. I love inspiring people. I love bringing energy around. And so, if I ever come without energy, something's going on with me, period. That ain't who, hey, send that dude back outside and bring the other dude back. We don't know who this is coming in here. We want the other guy. Right. And so, yeah, but no, I appreciate that. I try to listen intently. I love my sisters, all my sisters, especially black and brown. Because I know what you're up against in this world. I know what this world has done to you. I know what this world has done to women. I watched my mom get pulverized for the little time that I stayed with her as a child. I watched her bow down to the will of the men she was involved with at all times. Mm-hmm. And so I take a special affinity towards my sisters with great concern and with great care. And so, as a married man, I've had to curb a lot of that and just let people grow, on their own. And for those who the Lord puts in my life, I hold to them, and I appreciate, the relationships. I realize that everything is not meant to hold on to. And I also found out through investing in self-help programs, why I cling to people. And why I don't like to let things go. I had an ex-girlfriend, and she was just like, so you want an invitation to my wedding? Why? I'm like, well, we were friends long before that. She was like, dude, we're done. It's over. You don't get to hold on. And I was just like, but I don't understand. Why not? What do you mean? I don't get, what are you talking about? And so, but it came out that because I've, a child of the foster care system, that I didn't want to let people go because I was so used to just moving on. And when that revelation came, it just helped me be able to deal with and curb some of that. You know what I'm saying? Didn't curb a lot, but it just helped me get an understanding of why I love and cling to people. And so I get, and I'm not perfect at it to this day. I was sharing with a friend of mine, there's a male friend in our cohort, a fellowship, and he He doesn't do anything to reach out to anybody. He kind of stays to himself. This is somebody, you know, you give money to, you've taken them out to eat, you've been there for them with their problems. And when you don't feel that stuff reciprocated, like I know they say you shouldn't do anything for anybody and expect anything back. Yeah, but the human side of me does. And I expect a phone call. You know, I expect you to let me know what's going on. Like, how do you, you know, get a job and don't tell the people who've been helping you trying to find the job? Like, I don't like that. That's not friendship to me, you know, and things like that irk me. And my buddies, like, we were together last week and they were just like, hey, man, you know, just keep thoughts. He's still our brother. And it's like, I realize that. But, you know, I don't think it's wrong with expecting people to reciprocate something that you've brought to the table inside of a relationship. And I know expectations is a quick pathway to disappointment, but I'm human. And so being human, I'm able to share those things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Dude, as you were saying that, I was like, but don't you think that everybody comes to, or you will hope that everybody comes to that realization on their own, you know?
I think that, but I also have to realize that they're not me. They are an individual. They think a certain way, and everything more than likely is completely fine. So once I get the racket and the stories out of my head, I can see that. But I have to allow people to speak exactly how they want to speak and be exactly what they want to be. I don't have to agree with it, but I have to respect it. You know, I'm in a group once a week, a black men's group. And man, when I say, you know, I can't deal with, like, even in movies, like, I just can't take a lot of profanity. Like, I just can't. Like, it just irks me. I don't look at it as, you know, being a sign of just, you know, I don't believe you're going to hell if you're cussing. Like, I don't believe that, you know, but it's like, I'm just a bit more sensitive as I get older. And man, I was in this group. I'm going to tell you, I don't think I've ever heard so many F-bombs and mofos in my life, but I allowed those men to express themselves and still being a part of the group, because at the end of the day, I'm still called to be light as a Christian, and you don't be light staying in light. Your light shines in darkness, not in light. And so I have to stay in these circles and appreciate people for who they are and be able to always leave room for me to share my faith and what I believe. I don't convert anybody. I share my beliefs. I let them know what the Lord has done for me, and I keep it moving. And with all that said, can we get a poem now?
Oh man, I wasn't successful at making you forget. Okay.
Of course not.
Okay, so I did read your book, parts of your book.
Uh-oh.
Not the whole thing, because that book is,
I know.
Really deep.
So one of my boys said, dude, I got to get high before I read any of your stuff. But
it's real deep, yo.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's, to be honest, it's uncomfortable, but I am okay with uncomfortable, because, you know, for me, at least, anytime that I've experienced, like, you know, uncomfortable feelings, like, they always lead to something better. So
yeah,
I'll leave it at that. Cool. I wrote this one because I was reading yours.
Okay.
So it's called, and I was trying to, you know, what is that called when you try to make a human into like an animal? Whatever that is called, that's what I was trying to do with this very short.
Okay, cool, because I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Okay, it's called Sea Creature. He swims up toward the surface and feels the sun's rays. Radiant despite the struggle he often swims through, never drowning, enduring. Preserved by the cold, his heart still beats, defiant toward all the things that labor to break him. That's it.
Okay.
That's that poem.
I'm going to need you to read the last stanza again for me, because I have to be able to grab a hold of those words leading into your ending. So if you could please repeat those in a slower way.
Preserved by the cold, his heart still beats, defiant toward all the things that labor to break him.
Man, that is Beautiful.
Yeah, so that was you.
What piece did you write that after reading? Do you recall?
Ooh.
And if you don't, it's fine.
I think it was the one. I think it was I Miss You.
Ooh, man.
I think it was that one. And then also like your opening poem was like, ooh. I related to, I think the opening poem was about, you know, like you told your story about being abandoned and stuff like that. And I related to that. Like that resonated with me because of what I told you earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I Miss You. I actually shared I Miss You for those who are listening in my second podcast. Because I really thought, if I'm going to be on the air and if I'm going to share with people, I think they need genuineness and authenticity and being able to express myself, be fully self-expressed and be my authentic self. Right. So I can't be my authentic self at work 100%. I have to put on a facade. I have to be professional. What COVID has done, though, has put me in a complete opposite position. I am 100% real, naked, and unashamed with my team since March. You know, we meet every Friday, and no work is allowed in our discussion for that hour. Zero. And anybody who brings it up, we put them in place and in check. And I let the team do it. I don't bother with it. I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. And I value that time and that space with them to be their authentic selves, because it's something that people just need to be able to do without judgment, without shackles, and really just being able to feel at home with so many people going through during this time. So thank you for sharing your poetry with us. It will not be the last. I know there'll be more in the future from both of us on some collaborations that we're going to do together. But
yes, because I've been doing a lot of trying to songwrite. I don't know why, but that's just been popping up for me a lot.
Yeah, well, you don't have to sound what you already are.
Okay.
So I appreciate you, hermana. Te amo. And have a wonderful...
I love you too.
I love you too. And have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'll catch up with you soon. And thank you for coming on to Poetry, Politics, and Life, where we bear it all. We out of here.
Hey.
Peace.